Hello dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Julia and in this video I will work with art by Marlene's new collection called Out of This World. I got my supplies from Sarisstampingstudio and I will link to them in the description box below. So, let me show you the pieces I chose from this big collection, and first up are the stencils that make me think of Star Trek and warp speed. You can see my attempt at an upside down Vulcan greeting, live long and prosper. And while I entertain my inner nerd, you can see how whimsical and creative the stamp sets are. Because I craft on a budget, these are just a few of the items in the collection containing more stamps, stencils, die sets and paper. The last item is a Prima icing paste that Sari sent me to try, and you will soon see it in action in more than one way. This journey starts in my big Dylusions journal with Distress Oxide Sprays in Squeezed Lemonade, Cracked Pistagio, Lucky Clover and Rustic Wilderness, and to that I add a Mica spray stain in the dark shimmering green. I spray my pages with water and add the Squeezed Lemonade, Cracked Pistagio, Lucky Clover and Rustic Wilderness and a few spritzes of the Mica shimmer spray called Tree Lot. I spray again with water and turn the journal so the colors can run, drip and blend, and then I leave it to air dry. Next, I want a flap on each side of the journal, so I bring out my Dylusions journaling block and use its curved shape to make two flaps from a page I ripped out of my journal. I put the flaps in a box and bring out the same oxide sprays, but I add the turquoise Peacoc Feathers to tie in with the turquoise icing paste from Prima I will show you in a while, and I do the same procedure as before. Next, I want to bring in that turquoise on the pages, so I take my Distress Oxide ink pad in Peacoc Feathers and use a brush to add that vibrant color. I also want to enhance the green, so I take another oxide in crushed olive and add that for a more vibrant green. Then I do the same on the flaps and add those colors with a brush. So this collection is called Out of This World, so I intend to turn these pages into galaxy backgrounds using distress ink in black soot on a brush until I'm happy. And I do the same on the flaps. It looks like a mess, but I hang in there and it will all come together. Next up, I add the flaps to the pages using washi tape from All and Create. Washi tape is made to come off, so I use multi-matte medium to secure the flaps with the tape working as a hinge. Then I feel I need some splashes, so I use my spray bottle with Perfect Pearl powder mixed in. I spray heavily, and when I pick up color with a paper towel, I get those shimmering splashes I need. Next, I bring out that turquoise icing paste from Prima and I use my fingers to add the paste in swirls and in some places just for that beautiful metallic shine, but you will see me use it in another way later. Now, let's stamp, starting with this girl. I stamp her in VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink, and then I bring out masking paper and stamp her one more time. I fussy cut that girl on the masking paper and place the mask over my stamped image. Then I place a cloud stamp on the mask like the girl is sitting on the cloud and stamp over the mask. It is always exciting to remove the mask and have two stamps fused together. My next stamp is kind of an astronaut's helmet thingy. I mask off the inside with tape and stamp it once before I stamp it again on masking paper. I cut out the inside of the helmet bubble and place my mask over the stamped image. Then I bring out what I can only describe as a space mermaid, and I stamp her so her head now has a bubble helmet. Then I go on stamping all of the images I want for my pages. Now, let's color my images with Distress inks. As a rule, when it comes to color theory, I color my images in warm colors if my background is in cool colors, and vice versa. For the stars on the Space Bunny's coat, I use metallic gold watercolor, and then I color the bunny first in spun sugar and add shadow with picked raspberries. For her coat, I use 3 shades of purple in Wilted Violet, Seedless Preserves and Dusty Concord. I use the inks undiluted around the edges and where I want shadows. And then I use water to dilute the ink for a lighter color like highlights, or I just use water to drag the color out. For the space dog, I use the orange carved pumpkin, crackling campfire, and the red barn door, and I use the same technique throughout the coloring. While I paint this amazing space swan, let me thank you for following along this journey. And if you would like to subscribe, I would love to have you. And if you're already a subscriber, I just thank you so much for your support. For the Space Mermaid, I use Wilted Violet for her ears and around the eyes. I paint her hair and top with picked raspberries and 3 purple shades for her tail. She is no doubt an alien. So I bring out the green twisted citron for her skin and use the darker mowed lawn for shadows. Now, let's paint the girl on the cloud. I use Wilted Violet for her skin and picked raspberries for her hair. I use the orange and red inks to color her dress, and Gansai Tambi's metallic white and gold watercolor for her wings and crown. For the cloud, I use Distress ink in spun sugar. And here they are, all my images, and at this point I realize that their space bubbles can't be stark white since they are see-through, so I use the same inks as in the background to fill them in. So at this point I need more splashes, so I use white gesso mixed with water and use a fan brush to make many white splashes. Next up, I mask off the left flap with post-it notes and bring out that warp speed stencil. I bring out the turquoise icing paste from Prima and push it through my stencil to create a wormhole, kind of. Then I feel I need even more splashes, so I take some gold acrylic paint, dilute it with water and make gold splashes. And since I can't have enough splashes, I do the same with black paint. So you who know me know what's coming. That's right, heat embossing. I take one of the stamps and put it on an acrylic block and stamp it on the outside of the flap with Versamark embossing ink and cover it with Wow's Gold superfine embossing powder and melt it. Then I take a stamp with stars and do the same procedure and get gold stars on the outside right flap. Between the clusters of stars I want a planet, so I stamp the silhouette of a planet in VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink and cover it with Wow's Clear embossing powder and melt. On the left flap I use the same stamp to decorate the top and heat emboss it in gold. Then I find a stamp with a spaceship going up and heat emboss it with Wow's bright white superfine embossing powder. Then I find another cluster of planets and stars and heat emboss them the same way with Wow's Gold superfine embossing powder. Now, let's start putting my pages together. I have stamped lots and lots of light bulbs and colored them in the same colors as the other images, and I glue them on at the top of the right page and flap. All the stamps used today is from those 4 stamp sets you saw in the beginning. Next, I want those fireflies next to the light bulbs, so I heat emboss the flies in gold. So now I start gluing down my images. I glue down planets, the bunny, the girl on the cloud, the space dog, the robot cat and the mermaid. I fill my pages with colorful images until I'm happy. My last detail on these pages are to stamp the sentiment out of this world in Versamark embossing ink and heat emboss it with Range's purple tinsel embossing powder. I color in the background in black and cut the words out in a banner and I glue it down, hanging off the right flap. And now these out of this world art journaling pages are finished. I can't thank you enough for following me on this journey, and I hope you will be back for more. Until the next time, live long and prosper.